Now, there's one thing we don't have to claim on expenses at the BBC. It's this stuff here. Water. It's free, and apparently the executive wants to keep it that way, or at least Conor Murphy does, the Regional Development Minister. He's announced that he would like to see water charges deferred for another 3 years. Well, it's news to the chair of the Regional Development Committee, and that is Fred Cobain. He's with me now. Good plan, do you think?
Well, I mean, I've always been opposed to water charging, so, I mean, I'm happy with that aspect of it. But I think for a minister to make policy on the hoof now shows just how immature some of the people that are in the executive. I mean, we had the finance minister, I think 3 days before it, saying we need to cut down the number of MLAs, we need to close down departments, we need to pay 1,500 civil servants off. And in the same breath, he's talking about saving £1.5 billion over 3 years. And I just don't know how those mathematics work, to tell you the truth. And I think the problem with this executive is that some of them are extremely immature.
Well, I mean, it's not even an executive proposal. It is the minister saying this is what he would like to see happen. Do you think there is an agreement already between the DUP and Sinn Féin on this?
Well, I mean, I'd be surprised if there was, because the amounts of monies involved are enormous. I mean, we're talking £1.5 billion over 3 years. No.
So has the DUP then just becoming in a possible position where they can't be seen to say, no, we don't like that? Because it sounds to me more like that there had been some coordination.
Well, it could be the other way, that Nigel Dodds has announced this without telling his executive colleague, and the executive colleague doesn't want to be left out in the cold. He is the actual minister, Conor Murphy, and he is trying to reinforce his party's position around this.
But of course, you've been kept fully informed as chairman of the Regional Development Committee.
Yes, I was informed about 30 seconds before he made the decision in the hall, and it's not really a professional way to do business. I mean, there are huge amounts of monies involved in this, and if Conor Murphy was sitting here, first question you'd be asking him is, where are you going to get this money from?
What I'd like to know really is how much is it going to cost? Because a number of figures have been bandied around. Some people say 200 million a year, and that doesn't take into account the fact that the Treasury would impose a levy of maybe several hundred million as well.
I mean, there's a whole lot of issues around this. I mean, if you're not going to impose any water charges, the company itself becomes redesignated into the department. Actually, it becomes part of the department, and because it's part of the department, it can't borrow money. So you have the actual revenue cost of 250 million. You have the same again, the capital cost, so it's 500 million. If you take that over 3 years, it's £1.5 billion. So where they're getting this, I mean, one day they haven't got sufficient money to do what they're doing now. I mean, the next breath they'll have £1.5 billion to spend on water charges, and then the next day it's something else, and it's just totally unprofessional. I mean, this is like Alistair Darling coming out and saying, instead of 50p, I've decided it's 55p, but I haven't told any of my cabinet colleagues. I'll tell the Prime Minister tomorrow, but I'm telling the public first.
And as Martina was saying, that this threat of a levy, I mean, this is something that has to be approved by the Treasury.
Yeah, I mean, all of these discussions have to be approved by the Treasury, because there is huge financial consequences to this. I mean, we haven't paid VAT on any of the capital costs. And if you lose the GoCo and we don't charge for water, we have to, retrospectively, we have to pay the VAT back, which is about 180 million, I think. That's just the VAT.
So it's an expensive plan, but in principle you'll still be in favour?
Well, I'm in favour of not charging for water. I mean, I've always said that, but I would have thought, being a professional politician and in the executive would make these decisions, not ministers making them on the hoof.
OK. Fred Cobain, we'll leave it there.